They say you sleep a third of your life. So why is shopping for a mattress so important? There's a mattress store on every corner. But when you visit the Mattress Market Store, you'll find Steve and his family, in business for 35 years, waiting to help you find the best mattress at the best price to give you the best night's sleep. All the major brands: Serta Perfect Sleeper, Simmons Beauty Rest, Posh and Lavish, Urban Loft Ice, Pure Latex Bliss,
Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves, is ready to go. Talking to people you want to know. Face to face, one on one. Get the story and have some fun.
I don't suppose you know how to put on reverb, right?
And now, the most trusted name
Don't
in
mess with it if
radio,
you don't try
Rhett
it.
Palmer,
Get going.
the mayor of the airwaves.
And it's Tyler Russell co-hosting with me, Rhett Palmer, the mayor. There is Good Morning, Russell.
How's it going? Good morning.
All right, how about this? Porno singers. Hold on. Let's try this again. Porno singers, they strum guitars. Lost little lambs bow to the next superstar. Gluttony eats greed. When is enough enough? When will you vomit the evil up? Oh well, time moves slowly here in hell. Oh well, time moves slowly here in hell.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. It's a little song I wrote a while back, and it's true. Porno singers strum guitars, lost little lambs bow to the next superstar. Gluttony eats greed. When is enough enough? When will we vomit the evil up? It's happening right on the stage of the Grammys. Nobody watches the Grammys. I'm with somebody last night. You going to watch the Grammys? No. I said, well, I don't watch them anymore. I see you this morning. You're a young guy in his early 20s. Do you watch the Grammys? No, I don't watch the Grammys.
Yeah.
The producer just came in. He's 36, 35. I don't watch the Grammys. I mean, nobody's watching them, and they put this crap out there, and it's all to it's the tail wagging the dog, and as long as they get publicity from it. I mean, look at Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know nothing about him.
Okay.
Is he an artist you like at all? All I know is I've seen lately, I was in Barnes & Noble, and there was a rack, and there was like 9 magazines dedicated to a guy named Harry. Who's Harry Styles?
Yeah, so Harry Styles, I'm not like a big fan or anything. He does have a couple of good songs, I think. He's very, very popular.
Why?
He used to be a part of the band One Direction, if you ever heard about them. So he was one of those guys, and then he went solo. So his last album, I thought his last album was actually pretty good. Again, I don't like listen to it all the time, but like I didn't hate it. So
Do you guys have anybody great for your generation at this point? Do you have a Bob Dylan? Do you have a Beatles? Do you have an Elvis? Do you have a Neil Young?
I mean, the genre of music has changed so massively that I think that we do have these types of like great artists, but it's just like a completely different genre. Like there's never going to be another great folk singer or like a rock band that is like that guy of that generation. Maybe that's going to change in like the future, but the days
You
of
never
having
know.
like Bowies or Neil Diamonds around, it's just
Why?
like, it's just the whole taste of like these younger generations has changed. You know, it's either electronic music or it's rap
No, wait a
or like
second.
maybe indie.
Yeah, but there was a lot of disco when I was younger. When I was your age, son, there was disco. We put up with it. We maybe learned to do the little hip. You would knock a girl's hip with your hip, and the next door neighbor, and then you twirl around. I got to doing that thing. Staying alive, staying alive. Whether your mother, whether your brother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Oh, staying alive. Anyway, so and we didn't like that stuff, and then there was just a lot of stuff my friends and I would not like. I think there's a lot of young people out there that are listening. They're listening to Neil Young. They're listening to James Taylor. They're listening to Bob Dylan. And the young people, there's what's the station I listen to on satellite radio? It's Coffee House. You ever listen to Coffee House?
Never. I don't
It's
listen to the
alternative.
radio.
Well, it's not radio. It's satellite radio.
Yeah.
But it's like, so how do you listen to your music?
Spotify.
How
It's
do you
all online.
Okay, but I don't even know how to. Like, I remember when I was younger, I bought Neil Young's Harvest. I was 14 years of age. It became my companion. You know, I wanna live. You ever hear those songs? You know, keep me like this one. I'm sure you've heard it. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. Keep me searching and I'm growing old. You never heard that one?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Whatever. But I mean, somebody turned me on to it. Okay. So you get on Spotify. But how do you find out? Do you go somewhere where there's a list of the top songs that are being listened to? Is that how you find your stuff? or-
Not really. So what I do is, I've always like really been into music. So I just kind of like find bands through other bands. So, there's kind of like bands that I liked in high school, and then bands that will tour with them, or they'll post something on social media with them. Then I'll like go and check out those other bands. They're like hanging out with the bands that I already liked. So it's kind of like you find them through the grapevine kind of thing. There's always that. If I'm looking just like one random Saturday night and I just want to go find some new music and check it out and listen,
Yeah.
the best thing to do is on Spotify, there's these different playlists. And they'll go by genre, and people can make them. And usually the highest rated ones will be like kind of like the best for that genre, right? So you just kind of like go through and you like just listen to new songs.
Do you listen to
When you
rap?
like them,
Do you like
them.
rap?
I do, yeah.
You like rap?
Yep.
The only thing redeeming about rap is that it's poetry.
See,
Street poetry, right?
I kind of think that it's a bit misunderstood in a way. And,
Well, when you're talking about
there's-
hoes,
exactly.
and you're saying the word nigger, I don't like that word. And you're saying hoe,
Let's go.
you're talking women. If I had a black son, I don't care. You're not going to call my son the N word, whether you're black or white.
Yeah, there's definitely those songs that are like super degenerate, that don't really have a good,
Gonna kill the cops.
kind of
gonna go
like
on the street,
meaning to
gonna kill
them.
the cops during the next beat. Hey, kill the cops. Kill the cops. Wah, wah, wah.
See, I would love to hear that on Spotify. If you were singing that on Spotify,
yeah?
I
I
listen to
just
that
made
every
that
single
up.
day.
That could
was
be a
good,
hit, right?
That was good.
Yeah, 70-year-old guy makes it to the top of the charts. Walking down the street, gonna kill the cops with a necklace beat. Kill the cop, kill the cop, kill the cop today. Kill the cop, and get in the getaway.
Yeah, now there's different types of rap, right?
Yeah.
There's people like Ye, obviously. There's people like Sean Leone, who will make hip hop music that doesn't have cursing in it anymore, that mentions God, that talks about God. There's artists that Ye has influenced himself. We're now going into the future. They've said like, I'm not going to swear anymore. I'm going to include God
Ye
in my rap.
claims he had an epiphany experience with Jesus. Did he?
Yes. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I totally believe
Why
that.
do you think that?
It started back in the mid 2000s. So his journey starts out, he was in a terrible, terrible accident.
Really?
And and he had to get car accident. And he had to get like his mouth, his jaw wires shut, and like he was like all like bruised up, like it was like bad. And he's mentioned before.
What a man will do to himself for publicity, right?
and he's mentioned before that's kind of like the first step, that when he started to come to God. And
How old is he?
He was
Just about the age, I don't know.
mid-20s.
Okay.
Mid-20s, roughly.
Because I remember when my lungs collapsed when I was 21, had to have major surgery. I finally knew I could die. Up until that point, like, are you secure in the fact that you're going to die? You can say it intellectually, but there's a difference when something attacks you and you go, wow, I really am vulnerable. This is not going to last forever,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people
But
out
Kanye,
there
what
that...
about this thing when he was talking about why are the Hebrews all upset, the Jews? What did he do? I mean, I haven't heard a quote that says definitively that he was being prejudiced towards Jews.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't a quote out there. And that's part of our whole campus thing that Dalton and I are doing, right? When it comes down to it, Ye said that he loves everybody. And this means that he loves his enemies. He loves the people that he loves. He loves Jews. He loves Hitler. He loves Stalin.
Well, Jews are not his enemy.
No, I'm saying like
But you said in
even
one
his
breath,
enemies.
you said Jews and
Even his
Hitler, and
enemies.
who else did you say?
Stalin.
Stalin. Oh, my God.
And the whole message is you got to love everybody.
Stalin was a man without a soul.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of people without souls, or that you could say that.
And after he won
I still
World
think that you
War
gotta love
II
him.
with us, that Stalin had like 70,000 of his top generals and stuff all shot in the night. They had
True.
someone come visit him.
Now, Stalin also killed a bunch of Jewish people, too, on the road to Berlin.
Did he?
Yeah.
On the road to Berlin.
Yep.
Hmm.
And, that's kind of like one of Ye's points. Not that specific point, but the whole idea that, World War II, why are we so caught up with something that happened a century ago when we were in 2023? And he's a very forward-thinking person. And, he wants to look into the future. He doesn't want to keep looking back, because you see all the time, especially with Trump, right? They always said, oh, he's just like Hitler. This is just like the 1940s again.
Oh, and he's going to start World War III.
Exactly.
Then he goes over and sees the Rocket Man, and all of a sudden the Rocket Man is quelled.
Exactly.
Oh, you're paying attention to me. That's all I ever wanted. I just wanted to be a player.
Yeah,
That's what he wanted.
and Ye's whole point there is that, why are we looking back at World War II? Why is Trump being compared to Hitler? This guy was dead in the 40s, and it's time to look forward.
I hate to say this, but if you really look at the truth, it's the far liberals that want to muzzle. Like Hitler people, they wanted to burn up books.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to muzzle anything they didn't agree with. Here's a little poem I wrote February 3rd.
Okay.
What's today's date? 9th?
The 6th,
Okay.
I think.
If you don't mind, it's pretty brief. It goes like this. It goes, walking free in Berlin. I don't know, I get these notions once in a while, so indulge me. It's hard to express, where do I begin? I was tangled like barbed wire. Now I'm walking free in Berlin. I was angry and sour. The evil that was done spilled blood of innocent people. Then I thought of God's Son. He said, as you forgive, you will be forgiven your sin. My hatred began to melt. I was walking free in Berlin. It's a very heavy weight, a burden of despair. It takes a toll on your soul. Unforgiveness is a snare. It's a killer to your bones, suck you in, a tailspin. Bitterness only makes you bitter. Now I'm walking free in Berlin. Hate can't cure hate, only Christ's love within. Let the Lord be judge and jury. I'm walking free in Berlin.
I like that.
Thank you. Now, the reason I wrote that is I went to Germany, and I got off the boat, and I'm walking in Germany up the Baltic and taking a cruise, 9 different nations. And I was really kind of ticked off looking around at the Germans. And then I gave myself a talking to. I said, these people weren't even babies back then.
Mm-hmm.
These people didn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so my anger melted. And so we got to move forward.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, now, like, do what in Germany are you talking about there? Like, just, like, ruin the country kind of thing? Like,
World
turn
War
it into...
II, the horrors.
So you're saying that these people alive now didn't do the things in World War II?
Right, here I am angry with the German
okay.
people. Actually, I am a little bit German, so it's stupid. I kind of hate myself. Hey, I hate to say that. Oh, sprechen Sie Deutsch? Ah, yes. No. But seriously, that part of me, I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't respect them. It's like, what the heck with it? How can you be so evil that you kill children? I just was watching a video yesterday. They took a little Jewish child, and they take him and they smash him against the brick wall, kill him, and then hand it back to the mother.
I mean...
Well, what kind of... That's devil, deep, dark demonic spirits that have taken over the bodies of these people that allow them.
Killing anybody is. And, are you going to say that you hate the American in you because the American government has killed people before?
Yeah. Well, that leads us right into this thing. What is going on? Here's a little local thing that was sent to me this morning. It's a little neighborhood thing in Vero Beach, Florida, okay? Okay. Sign in. Let's see. No, that's not it. Okay. Okay, here it is. This is called Next Door Vero. Okay, somebody says, I wonder why the military shot payload under the balloon instead of shooting the balloon. This is your common neighbor. This isn't some newsman, okay? I wonder why the military shot the payload under the balloon instead of shooting the balloon. Could it be Could it be to be sure that there was nothing left to examine? The shuttle crashed down into the Atlantic Ocean, and they found most of it not trying to trigger anyone or anything. Cecilia answers, I'd like to know more about the one shot down over Montana. And there are reports of one near Hawaii. We are not getting the full story. So much for transparency from this administration.
Sure. I mean, when it comes to the whole balloon thing, I think that this was probably one of the stupidest psyops I've seen in like years.
Now, what's a psyop? Science?
A psychological operation.
Psychological. Okay, psyop.
Yeah, psyop. And
New generation shortens everything.
yeah. Yeah, and, to me, I saw this,
Psyop.
and the first thing that I thought to myself was, why are the Chinese using a balloon to spy? They have satellites. So this whole balloon thing is like, that isn't a Chinese spy balloon, I don't think.
Yes, out in Montana.
What could they possibly be getting?
We found a little a Chinese guy with a mule and a basket, and he's riding in a carriage. Or would shoot him down. He's a spy. I don't think the Chinese are going to send a guy with a mule and a little whatever it is, trailer, whatever.
Yeah. The whole premise of this is so absurd, and it was kind of concerning a little bit seeing the amount of Americans who actually thought that the Chinese used weather balloons to spy on us. Like, just not understanding the full weight that the Chinese government has. The Chinese government, they can zoom into your house if they want from space because they have satellites. They don't need to fly a weather balloon over the U.S. to gather geographical data.
Somebody could drive by the studio and they have a thing you point it towards the house and they could hear our conversation.
Exactly. And that was around in, like, the 50s. Imagine what they have now. They could be, like, across the world and just, like, zoom into our little room here. It's insane the amount of technology that not only America but these other countries have.
Have you stayed in motel rooms often?
For sure, yeah.
So what's the chances with me, I travel every year, that I've been videotaped against my will through a mirror or some other object?
Yeah, I mean, at the very minimum recorded, I'd say, for sure.
Can you imagine me naked? Erase this one! Quick! Erase it! Ow! 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 Oh, well, what are they going to do with all these tapes? I mean, everybody's got to be what about Alexa? We're available on Alexa. Alexa, open Vero's voice. Well, anyway, it's like, whatever. I mean, let's shut down Alexa. She's listening to us. No, I don't know. I was at my nephew's house. You tell me about this. I was at my nephew's house maybe 4 years ago, summertime. We all have corn on the cob. It's 9:45 on a Friday night, Saturday night. I think it was a Friday. So Uncle Rhett goes back to the motel. The phone rings, and my nephew says, Uncle Rhett, you left. Remember we were talking about corn on the cob? You know what he says on my phone? He has an Android, not even an iPhone. He has an Android. He said, 3 recipes for how to prepare corn on the cob came up. That is bizarre. So something's listening, but,
Yeah. So
should
basically,
we be paranoid?
I think that we should be paranoid a little bit. And the whole way that it works is it works in a bit of like a different way than people think.
Yeah.
So it works the same way when you will Google something just by typing it in, and then you start to get ads for that thing. So what Google will do now, and all these other companies, is they will look at the other sites that you're visiting, and they'll gather all that data and keywords and stuff. So if I just go and I type in like black sweatshirt into Amazon, when I open up Instagram recognizes.
Is that how you got this black sweatshirt?
No. But
you too can have a black sweatshirt today. We're selling for 3 easy payments of $19.95, and he'll sign it, autographed, yes, by the Zoomer himself.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it's done, and then Instagram will recognize that, and it can kind of be freaky because sometimes you'll just be talking out loud. And then your phone will pick that up because your phone is always listening. That's how Siri or Alexa knows to kind of wake itself up, right? Your phone's always on, really. So that's kind of how that filters in, and then you start to see ads over what you were talking about.
Let me ask you something. So is it okay to talk about Canada? Are you afraid of any retribution with what happened in Canada?
No.
You're not paranoid?
Not really.
They're not coming
I
down.
mean,
They're not going to send you back up there. Like, if
Yeah,
you'd
no.
stayed in Canada, though, would you be in jail now?
I'm not too
Some
sure.
are saying so.
I'm not too sure.
Now, how was
when
it
it
that
comes
you-
down to it, I had like a person of interest profile that was released when I was in Ottawa for the trucker convoy.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, those were all the young teenage girls that liked you. He's the person of interest.
True.
There you go. Now, if I were you, as your new manager, what I would do is you should have a hat on right now that has a truck on it. You should have, Canadian Truckers Unite or on the front of your shirt. Everybody should know, oh, that's the guy who did the trucker thing up in Canada. That's your claim to fame.
I mean, it's not really my claim to fame. It was just
Why
like a
do they
cool
say
protest.
you started it?
I definitely didn't start it.
Oh,
Nobody. Yeah.
well, you
no.
got known for it. Why?
Yeah, so I went there with my group Canada First, and we were like very active throughout that whole protest. So
And who was Canada First?
So I started Canada First. It was the there's this one
I don't
article.
think you started first because it was already in existence. I mean, Canada's been around for a while. Oh, you don't mean that.
There
Okay.
was one Canada First
That's a
in
joke.
the 1800s.
Canada First. Okay.
Yeah. And then so I started it.
It's a
and,
conservative group.
Yeah. So Antifa calls it the largest nationalist Canadian youth organization in history. So basically, I started my show Canada First, and then a bunch of young guys started to follow me, and we go out to protests. We'd go out to like the anti-mask rallies and stuff like that. We'd go out on Canada Day, and there would be events that are going on. I'd speak. We held a political action conference. So we got like around 100 guys with different political speakers and
Ernie
stuff like that.
Hollins was a guy who was famous up in Canada for robbing banks. He went on Huntley Street. Remember Huntley Street? 100 Huntley
no.
Street, it's a Christian show. Anyway, so now, it used to be that in America right now, it's against the law, and I presume Canada, you're not allowed to wear a mask in a bank. Now
Yeah,
they were saying
yeah.
you can't come into the bank without a mask.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be a robber.
Yeah, true.
Put on a hat, put on a mask. They can't identify. It's also a great time to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
Because you wear a crown. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Good. It's a great time to be famous
Mm-hmm. For sure.
that way.
Yeah. I mean, the whole mask thing just doesn't even make sense. It didn't work from the get-go.
You know what stupid is? I was in Publix last night, and this girl goes by, and she's got the mask on in front of me, checking out. And the lady behind the counter goes, "What's that all about?" I said, the lady was talking to me, too. I said, when she left, I said, I couldn't understand a thing she said. She says, yeah, what's with this mask thing, blah, 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 blah. And she said, I didn't get the shot. They demanded we, get the mask. And I just don't understand this mask thing. But, it is kind of stupid. I was coming out of Barnes & Noble, and there's a lady in her car by herself, and she has 2 masks on. She's in the car. Now, see, I was calling people out. There's a dummy. Barbara will say, look at that person walking down the street exercising by themselves wearing a mask. Do they have a brain? Aha, but I caught a picture of me when I had COVID. I was in my Mini Cooper convertible. I'm driving around. And I said, I'll take a picture of myself downtown Vero. Here it is. And you know what I have on? A mask. I'm in a convertible by myself with the top down. I'm going, well, I was in the stupid rank too. It was all like, is that stupid? Why in the heck? Now, I do remember it was a cold day here in Florida, so maybe that was it,
Yeah, I mean, it kind of does depend on at what point during COVID you were doing that. Because at the very beginning, the smart people were saying that, like, okay, this could actually be, like, something big.
Yeah.
And the smart people, when it was first just kind of popping up in China, and we started to see all those videos of, like, the people, like, shaking in the hospitals and the Chinese people, like, spraying the streets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any smart person would go, okay, it's time to prepare here.
Yeah, there's a plague going down.
Yeah. So, I was living in Toronto then, like, right downtown Toronto. And, the instant that I saw that, I was wearing a mask before anybody else was. And I had it wasn't just a surgical mask. I had, like, the full, like, white N95, like, zombie mask to, like, go and get my groceries. And then that lasted for about 2 weeks. And then when the government told its first lie, then I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. So it was very short-lived when I was wearing a mask. But I think that, if you were smart at the very beginning and you saw what was happening in China, fully knowing what the government is capable of, you were preparing.
Okay, so the quote from the Bible today is be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen. Slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen. Well, if we're talking, you already know what you know. So if you're talking, you're not progressing. I have to do this with myself. I say, well, you're the one talking here, big blabbermouth. You're not learning it. I'm showing you what I know, blah, 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 blah. I used to go to a Bible study up at John Zion, most a multimillionaire little community here in Vero Beach. We have more Fortune 500 retired CEOs than any zip code in the United States of America. And so there was this guy there. He was the quietest guy at the table. But he used to be he was an electrician. I mean, he even did Trump's place up in what is it? Atlantic City.
Oh, okay.
The gambling place, the casino.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so he was always the quietest, but he was also a fighter pilot, World War II. I hope he's still alive. Last I know, he was living in a nursing home here in town here. The nicest man, the quietest man. Well, they say, deep waters are silent or something. What's the old saying there? Something waters, deep waters. Anyway, the one who says the least usually is the smartest one at the table. So the quote for the day is, be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen.
I like
All
that.
right. So you want to sum up anything today before we take a break here?
Sum up anything. I mean, we could talk about. I mean, we only have a minute left, so we can't really dive into another topic, can we?
What were we going to talk about? We talked about the Grammys. We talked about the stupid shooting down the weather balloon.
Yeah.
What else did we talk about?
You wanted to hear about you wanted to hear about our trip up to University of Florida.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, I got 1 minute. I got 1 minute.
What'd you do?
So basically, me and my buddy Dalton went up to University of Florida, set up our table, and of course, liberals started to freak out.
What
some
does it
guy
say on your table that would freak out the liberals?
It says "Yay is right." So we're out there supporting Yay for president, of course. And some guy ran up to us and tried to hit us. He didn't hit us because he kind of. I'm trying not to swear. The first thing that came into my mind was a swear word, but he pansied out. And then we had a lot of support. Actually, people came by. The majority of the people that sat down with us were for Yay 24. So we're for Yay in 24. So it was a very successful
24.
day. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. This is the mayor.
Thanks for
who
having
loves you,
me.
baby.